All right, let's get into this real quick. Here we go. Yes, let's get some excitement. And we are basically going to talk about, should able-bodied individuals be able to receive Social Security beneficiary taxes that pay for those able-bodieds to have food stamps? Now, some of you don't know this. Some of you do not know this. Retirees, some of them still pay federal income tax on Social Security benefits, or they work a job, or they have a pension, or an investment income, or whatever. But retirees will pay federal income tax. Disabled individuals, sometimes they have part-time work. Sometimes they have, certain types of situations that bring them a form of income that gets taxed, and they have federal income tax as a result of it. And guess what? They are paying a tax towards able bodies to have ... You guessed it, food stamps. Also, there are indirect taxes. There's state, local sales taxes, right, which help to pay for the administration of the food stamps. Excise taxes, fuel, tobacco, stuff like that. Look, there's a lot of taxes. We're going to actually go through all the different types of taxes, but my thinking is this: I do not believe that retired and disabled people should have to pay for basically individuals who essentially are able-bodied and can go and work, but choose not to. For example.
Okay, so tell me why I get a call. Well, actually, first I get a letter, but I just disregarded the letter because what the fuck? Like, I'm not about to respond to you on this bullshit. But anyways, I didn't respond to the letter I got in the mail from the food stamp office. So they call me and they're going over some of the changes that are going to be taking place for food stamp holders, or if you're receiving like cash assistance. They're requiring you to work 15 hours a week. 15 hours. Okay, mind you, this is insane because a lot of us have lives. Even though we're on food stamps and we have cash aid, we have lives, like
I just work all the time.
15 hours a week, really? We have to do that to be able to continue receiving those benefits? Yeah. So if you don't meet those requirements, you don't qualify for those anymore.
Okay, so to be fair, when somebody who is totally able-bodied, right, and she could have disabling impairments, mental ones, etc. But the bottom line is, she is somebody who appears, although she could be disabled, but she didn't bring that up. She is essentially somebody who, to be fair, might. You gotta understand. I work more than 15 hours in a single day. Most days I work more than 15 hours. So, like, to me, 15 hours is like part of the day. So I just, and now here we have.
I can't let that happen.
Okay, so okay.
It's been day 5, and I have not received no food stamps. My disability check is on hold. My cash benefits is not coming no more. They're still pending. It is the taxpayer's job to pay for my kids to eat and for my kids to be taken care of. I have over 2,000 followers on TikTok, and I can't get not one person to send me 50 cents. If you're watching this fucking video and you can't send me nothing, I'm blocking you. I'm fucking blocking you. 50 cents. My kids have not eaten in 5 days. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of my kids.
When the internet found out that I was on Medicaid and SNAP, they all
that's a good one too.
How they couldn't wait until my benefits got taken away from me. Well, I got a letter from my local benefits office, and here's the moment of truth. This letter is to notify you that you are eligible for an additional $100 LIHEAP cash grant for the 2024-2025 LIHEAP season. I reported all of my income from that video back in July, and we are expecting a letter to maybe say that like our food stamps got like cut in half or something. But so far that letter hasn't come. But the letter that has come is letting us know that we have a $100 credit on our electric bill. So keep holding your breath until I lose my benefits. Because as of right now, I still have Medicaid and I still have food stamps. And I also work and earn an income and pay taxes. And now have $100 off my electric bill.
Okay, so all right. Look, you gotta understand something. All right. Some of these individuals are disabled. There is a all right, look, back, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but back in the day, a lot of these individuals, right, they'd have to go get a job. And a lot of them that were found disabled way back in the day, you know, back then they were disabled, but nowadays they ain't anywhere as close to being found disabled. They're not severe. They're mild, moderate. So what's happening now is a really weird, ironic thing. A big part of the funding for food stamps, way too much, is coming from retired people and disabled people. And one of them claimed to be disabled as she was rocking her thing on TikTok and Instagram or whatever it was to get a 50-cent donation from her 2,000 followers. All right. You have to understand how, for me, this is an interesting situation because I represent people who are inpatient at mental facilities. I represent people who are, you know, basically unable to use their legs, amputations, you know, really bad spinal injuries. They can barely breathe. I represent people who are disabled. Some of these are mentally unsound, clearly, and they may de facto be disabled. But a lot of them are just scam artists. They're bullshit scam artists. Let me explain to you something that maybe you don't know, so that you understand why this is a problem. Because at the end of the day, you got to understand why this is a problem. It's not just that one of them gets $100, $200, $300 on food stamps. It is that there is a massive amount of people, including legal immigrants and illegal immigrants, who were funded by federal taxes that were paid for by the retired and disabled. And that ain't okay. That's just not right. Let me go through this real quick, that way you understand it. The largest source of SNAP funding, okay, could be paid by workers, retirees, disabled people who are working, investors. It includes wages and salaries, interest and dividends, pensions and retirement income, and, you know, if taxable, and certain Social Security benefits if certain thresholds are made. Like you earn over a certain amount, certain thresholds, right? So there's essentially those individual income taxes where they collect money to pay those, food stamp benefits. Then you have corporate income taxes paid by businesses on profits. They flow into the general fund. They help pay for SNAP and other federal programs. Then you have excise taxes, taxes on specific goods and services like gasoline, alcohol, tobacco, air travel. You know, that some of them go to highway funds, some go to this fund, that fund, but some of them go to food stamps. State and gift taxes, large transfers of wealth, contribute to the SNAP benefits. Customs, duties, and tariffs. Taxes on imported goods, part of the money used for federal spending includes SNAP benefits. Then there's other federal fees, other federal fines, civil criminal penalty fines, penalties in general, user fees, small revenue sources that the Treasury uses from general funds, or uses to tap from general funds. But a part of this gets pooled to go to SNAP benefits. Now, the states share about 50% of administrative costs using state funds. So when you pay state taxes, some of those go to SNAP benefits administration. I need you to understand something. America has an epidemic of people who should be working that are not working. A huge chunk of that now are new culture individuals that are brought into this country who are basically having lots of kids, who are able-bodied. Sure are. 4 to 12 kids, able-bodied, but because they have dependents, we don't require them to work. Because how are they going to work? They got to take care of all these kids. Let's go through all the different type of able-bodied individuals that are collecting essentially food stamps from the disabled and retired. And some of you, again, may think, hey, this is not a big deal. It's just a small amount of money. It is not, because of how many people are taking that money. All right. Able-bodied adults without dependents. Okay. 18 to 52, although it's 54 now in 2025. No dependents, under age 18 in their household. They're not disabled. They're not pregnant. Because remember, a lot of you are going to be like, yeah, so that's another thing too. When it comes to a lot of these benefit plans, and we have to do it. When women become pregnant, we offer up a lot more benefits to them, right? And we should, because it's just a unique part of their bodily ability. I'm not getting into that discussion tonight. We are not going there. All right, next one. We're not defining a woman tonight. It's not happening. Then you have essentially, able-bodied adults with dependents, right? So these are people who care for people under 18. They're able-bodied. We like to see them do general work requirements in many states. However, the more super liberal states, we do not require them to go ahead and basically do work, okay? Is what it is, okay? And the reason why is, to be fair, we want them to take care of the children, raise the children. We want the children to be successful. Although culturally, you will find that quite a few individuals are having lots and lots of kids to game the system because they're not dumb. They're smart. They got 7, 8 kids. All of their expenses are completely paid for, including rent, including food, including clothing, including this, including that. It's all paid for, okay? They're not dumb. They know how to play the game. Able-bodied young adults in transition. These are 18 to 24-year-olds. They're entering the workforce, or they're basically, they could be living with their parents up to 22. If independent, they follow the ABAWD section for general work rules. Students under 24 enrolled at least half-time in college face additional restrictions. Able-bodied college students, this is another category where they're in college, 18 to 49, enrolled at least half-time in an institution of higher education, generally ineligible for food stamps unless they meet one of these exceptions, work 20 plus hours a week, care for a dependent under 6 years old, which makes sense, participate in a state or federally funded work-study program, receive TAMF, or are in a SNAP employment and training ENT program. Then there are able-bodied older adults, 50 to 59, so pre-retirement stuff. Adults not yet considered elderly. These individuals are considered able-bodied unless disabled. They must meet the general work requirements. They're not subject to the 3-month limit if they're over the age cutoff, phasing to 54 by 2025, which is what we're in. Then there are able-bodied workers with low wages. People working but earning too little to meet the food needs. That's where they earn too little. It's doing retail, food service, McDonald's, Wendy's, gig economy people, stuff like that. They must meet certain work requirements, but they do supplement it because they just don't make enough money to survive, which is especially now true post-Bidenomics. Then you have basically able-bodied homeless individuals, right? And I work with a lot of those individuals. These are adults with disabilities or dependents who are homeless. They're subject to 3-month time limit unless they meet work training requirements or their area has a waiver. So in other words, they get some bennies, but they expect them to try and go and work at some point. Let's talk about this. Do you guys feel like, do you guys feel that retired and disabled people should pay for some of these categories of able-bodied workers who basically are either getting around the work requirements or doing little work? Because here's the thing. All right, here's my thing. Social Security requires basically that a full-time job not be able to be done in order to be found disabled. Maybe they could do a part-time job, but the whole idea is that a full-time job, be essentially something that you not be able to do to be found disabled. That's part of element 4, your past work, and element 5, other types of jobs in the national economy. We call it relevant, transferable, skilled work. So that's skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled work based on the SVP notations. But bottom line is you can't do a full-time job. And full-time is not defined as 8 hours a day. It's defined as like in that industry, what it's considered to be a full-time job. So my point to you is, I think we should pass a law that has it so that seniors, whatever they pay in taxes, cannot, should not, for retired, cannot, should not, for disabled be used to pay for other able-bodied work, other able-bodied people who are either limiting their work purposefully or basically, essentially not working at all. There are, look, and I'm not going to, pick on any particular states here, but there are certain states where there are a lot of individuals who tap into this, and the working class is fed the F up with it. We're over it. The working class pays so much in taxes. The working class can't afford the insurance on the mortgage they have. They can't afford their own food now. And these are like middle class people. So to me, I think, to be fair, there needs to be a change in this whole ridiculous system of food stamps for so many people it goes out to. Yes, I know lots of people who have food stamps. I know lots of people who are waiting to be found disabled and deserve food stamps during that period. I fully support that. If they are disabled or there's the potential of being found disabled, I fully support that, because the whole point is they can't work. There are so many people abusing the system. That is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how to get around the thing where it's like, a female has, 7 or 8 kids and, by and through that doesn't have to go ahead and work and gets food stamps. And, the boyfriend, husband, or no, they never have a husband. It's always a baby daddy, basically does not pay any child support or isn't around, or, pays a small amount of child support. It's a problem. And I think one of the big things that is really problematic is that there's too many people working too hard, not making enough to survive. And the majority of the reason they're not making enough is shit politicians. I mean, the last administration, they couldn't even give speeches. I know some of you absolutely love Kamala Harris and you love Biden. I know some of you do, but if you could just admit that conceptually, their diction, syntax, the capacity to deliver words consistently in a sentence were beyond them. Their economic policy was the shittiest in America's history. And we've had some shit times in this country. So from my standpoint, I'm seeing a lot of middle class people who can't afford the basics, which means you have to reduce taxes and increase earned income for what their jobs were. And I don't know. A lot of businesses can't even afford it now. It's just one of those situations where, it's just one of those situations. So it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, And a lot of these middle class can't even afford health insurance anymore. Like they're like forced to get health insurance that they can't even afford. It's just absolutely out there. But imagine that. Imagine a retired person that's like, let's say 70 years old, working a job, paying taxes. And there's one of these individuals who's like, I have a life. Therefore, you, a 70-year-old, working to be able to survive, to live in the same place you literally paid off your entire life, but now have ridiculous property taxes, because, you live in like Massachusetts, New Jersey, whatever, California, New York, whatever. Like imagine what we'd have to say to that 70-year-old to say, you know what, because of our rules and regulations, you have to pay for this person who spends all of their days Netflixing and chilling because they have a life and you're not allowed to at 70 years old. That to me is insane. It is insanity. It is absolute insanity. So I just wanted to point this out because at the end of the day, I see a lot of elderly. I work with a lot of disabled people. I work with VA compensation people. P&T, TDIU. I work with a lot of people who are older now, and I gotta tell you, it just burns me because like I see these retired people, and the retirement is gone. Their final years on planet Earth are being taxed to pay these malfunctioning pieces of shit. And they're not disabled. Many of them aren't. And that's what burns me. That's why I say the disabled are the elderly are the true victim class. Because, there's people like running around with this or that or whatever. And they're like, oh, constantly the victim, vote for my cause. And I'm just like, dude, who's going to back the retired and the disabled when the trust fund runs out for the retired? Like, that's the only victim class I know. It's just, especially like disabled children. It's like, oh my, and it's just insanity. I can't get the Republican Party to care about Social Security. I tried the past 2 weeks to push it. I can't get the Democrats at all to even listen. I can't even get them to connect with me on any points. They're just in a totally different world. I do not think they have full capacity over the structured daily existence that everybody lives in. I think they literally are in a pocket universe of something else. I don't even know what to call it. And I think that at the end of the day, if we can just figure out how to get Republicans to care about Social Security recipients, it will force Democrats to just do anything to try and keep control. To be honest, I don't even, have you guys seen a push for Social Security? Like there was Doge, and then Democrats were constantly rah, 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 they're trying to cut Social Security. And then there's some YouTubers that are like, okay, Republicans are trying to end Social Security in the way we know it. Part of that is true, right? We don't know if Trump's going to end the grid rules. We don't know how he's going to change the system. We don't know. But he's not usually good for Social Security in the sense of disability benefits being handed out to more people. He's usually more of they're going to tamp that thing down, So the point that I'm getting at here with all of this is that the only way we can make people care about the retired and the disabled is to make the Republicans start working for the retired and the disabled, fixing things, modifying things, not the direction they're going right now. Right now, they're innovation and restriction. That's their gig right now. So as a result, I just saw Rosa Soto's, you're overtired, please be careful. Indeed. But I think, to be fair, what we have to do is we have to get Republicans to care, and then that will make the Democrats pretend to care. And that is literally the most effective way to get Social Security reform. I just don't want to see disabled and retired paying for these able-bodied people. I don't think it's right. I think it's very wrong. And I think at the end of the day, if we continue on this path, we're going to have class warfare. And what will happen is the people who make all the money are going to go after people like that, people who are here, I'll show you another one. Here's another one, right? Right here. Here's another one.
Let's jump right.
So here's another one. Video. Right here, you go.
Y'all, please tell me y'all seen that lady on TikTok, the Caucasian lady talking about the food stamps, crying because the food stamp office she got cut off of food stamps, $4,000 of food stamps, cut off her Section 8. Her Section 8, I think she was paying $86 or something a month. She got 6 or 7 kids. She gets Social Security. She get welfare. She gets everything. Y'all, she's on there crying because they cut her off of everything and they told her that she's going to have to get a job. Y'all, and that's not even the bad part. The bad part is like she's capably able, like she's able to work. Like she's like, I can't work. And then she paused and she was like, well, I can work, but I don't want. And then she's on there like they're making her sell her BMW or sell her 2024, her new car, her something. I don't know. That could be a lie or whatever from videos just bouncing around. But she's been on Section 8, y'all, for 13 years. If you have been on Section 8 for 13 years and you get Section 8, you get food stamps, $4,000 worth of food stamps, Social Security card, Social Security and welfare. So you get a check for these kids as well. Why you don't got
So look, my point is this, okay? And it burns me, I think, especially because at the end of the day, like I work my ass off to get people over the wall, to get them their Social Security check. And every year it gets harder to get a disability check. VA benefits used to be way harder. Now that's not the case. VA benefits are easier to get than Social Security benefits. You'll get some veteran here. No, it's not. Trust me, it is. Yeah, Zena makes a good point. You go to Home Depot, you're seeing a lot of retired people working the shelves, a lot of retired people stocking the shelves, a lot of retired people at the cash out line. I'm pissed. I'm pissed because I don't see America going the way I want it to. And I want it to have a good ending. Because if you make life in America all about work, where when you hit retirement, that doesn't mean shit. You just get a check, it's not worth much, and you have to continue to work. Ain't nobody gonna stay here. Trust me, nobody's gonna stay here. That's like having Christianity where instead of going to heaven, you just go to like the middle zone where you hang out. You're just doing the same thing you've always been doing. No, you have to have heaven. You have to have golden years where you get to do stuff at the end. Otherwise, there's no point to any of this. Right? There's no point to working your butt off if you can't afford to take it easy when you're older. There's just no point. Same thing for disabled. Imagine saying to a disabled person that works part-time, breaks their butt to do it, that you're going to take their money to go pay for somebody who had more kids than them. Thank you, Old School Trucker, for the donation. I really appreciate it. Sorry about the membership detail. But I do love the truck videos. I do love the truck. I think you have some truck. But yeah. I think so. I think I might have seen them on your channel. Because I'm a huge fan of vintage trucks. I like Chevy 48 to basically 53 style. But anyways, the point is 5-window, fleet side, or I'm okay with step side. Step side's good too. I really like step side. I prefer long bed, not short bed. I guess what I would say is this. I just want people to be aware that the true victims, not the people in the Antifa parades, the true victims are paying money to people who are able-bodied. And that's, oh, my foot just hit a thing. And that's not okay, because at the end of the day, if we continue down this road, and I gotta be real honest with you, if we continue down this road, America is going to be cooked. Because, very important here, America is about work hard and then have a better life. Like, that's the whole sales pitch of America. Capitalism, work hard and have a better life. What they're not adding to that is that you have to get lucky, you have to be educated, you have to figure things out, you have to basically climb a ladder, you have to just not have a good time. But then you're supposed to be able to retire. Or if you're lucky enough, create wealth for your future generations so that they can have a better life. We don't really have that as much anymore. You ever stop to think about that? Future generations are relying less and less on the inheritances that they're getting because they're just not much, because the retired can't afford to keep what they've had their whole life. You know how many retired people have to sell their home on the water or on the mountaintop to go live in like some little spot somewhere down in a whatever? Like, they achieved that and then they lost it. And that's shit. It's not okay. I'm not okay with it. I don't think it's okay. I'm not cool with that. Anna Hempel, thank you for the $10 donation. So guys, just so you know, we are about to open up doing the videos that will actually have performers, which is going to be really cool because they'll be like doing the halftime show stuff. So we'll actually have some more videos for you based off of that. We have the little stage built. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I basically have to pick up a camera specifically for it because the cameras I was using apparently are like they don't have proper HDMI outputs and the USB thing doesn't work properly, but whatever, we'll make it work. But again, Anna Hempel, love the little dancing lemon. That's awesome. And Christine, let's see, where is it? Where's it? There it is. Christine Gagnon, 5 Social Security SSDI benefit video membership gifts. That's to S. Yakub, Jen Elizabeth, Maud Mathild, Honest Opinion, there you are, and KJ Fury, very cool, excellent. Thank you for that. So my point with this video is to just point out that I would like to recategorize politically what a victim is. And I would like to create levels of victimhood so that our legislation going forward prioritizes true victims. I know I don't want to get into politics, but I want to write the bill that allows politicians to do that. That requires them to prioritize legislation to help true victims. I know the disabled and retired would force them to actually sit there and think through solutions. So anyways, everybody, I hope you're doing well. Please remember to like and subscribe. I will catch you all at the next video where I go live to answer questions for free. We're going to do about half an hour. It's going to be about Social Security law. You can call the phone. I'm going to set it up and we're going to go right into it. Give me about 5 minutes and we'll rock and roll and go from there. Attorney Walter Hnot, America's most clicked on, subscribed to, viewed disability attorney. So if you need disability benefits, call me during the 9 to 5 and we'll rock and roll from there. And please be a part of making life better for retired and disabled because they need it. They need it. The working class need a better life. The true victims, the disabled and retired, need a working life or need a better life, and they don't need a hardcore working life. That's what the middle class is pushing so hard. They're not making enough. That's the other thing too. You want to see what a collapse is going to look like? The middle class can't make enough to support their own future retirement. Yeah. That's how you define the end of the trust funds. That's it. That's what it is. So it's just a salty situation, and I'd like to see a solution to it. I'm not saying I'm going into politics, but I would really like to legislate the shit out of a lot of things. But again, it is what it is. All right, I will catch you all at the next video in about 5 minutes. Attorney Walter Hnot, thanks so much. I'll see you soon. All right, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.